Toastmaster Elaf, that was a very, very beautiful welcome by you, and an extremely nice introduction that probably the best I've heard for myself for so long. So thank you so much. And it's so nice to hear this from another beautiful and empowered woman herself. And I can see that I first of all would like to thank DTM Girish for giving me this opportunity for coming here and being a part of NTI. For me, this sharing is more like coming home, and it's a wonderful feeling. So before we start, I would just like to share my screen. So give me a moment here. Are you all able to see my screen? Okay. Okay, so today we are going to talk about speaking on our feet. And what that means is this art of speaking on our feet, which is impromptu speaking, is not just a skill of Toastmasters. I think it's a skill that we require for a lifetime. Give me a moment, my presentation doesn't seem to work. I'm just going to go with the screen because my presentation doesn't seem to work, but that's okay. But before that, I would like you to tell me what are your concerns about impromptu speaking. And for that, I want you to go on to mentimeter.com. That's menti.com, MENTI. And I want you to write your concerns. And the code for that is 3594659. So if all of you could just take out your cell phones, or on your laptops, go to menti.com, or on your app Mentimeter, and write down your concerns. I can see your responses live here. So please type the code 3594659. Today's session is going to be more interactive than me just telling you what to do. So I want your responses to be as candid as possible. Are you able to join in?
Noopur, if you can put the code in the chat, it will be helpful.
Okay, I'll put the code in the chat. So that's 3594659, and it's menti.com.
It is asking sign up and other things, Noopur.
No, you just need to put the code. You just need to put the code to enter the answer. If it's the code, then you don't need to sign up. Okay, great. I'm getting a lot more responses now. It's 3594659. I put the code into the chat box. Yes. Oh my God, yes. Organizing your thoughts, loss of words, people laughing at you. Oh my God, this is so real. To justify everything within your time, having no ideas, going blank, suddenly an unknown topic, searching for words, speaking of something, absolutely anything, forgetting vocabulary. Wow, you are already up in the game to think about vocabulary during your table topics. The end game, start with proper words. Affection, that's nice. I'm so glad that you actually think about affection in your table topics. Speech structure, yes. To focus on the topic and not go out of topic, yes. Speak of the wrong topic, oh yes, this has also happened to me. Grammatically being correct or incorrect, that is completely understandable, especially when English is not our first language. So great, I think I've got quite a few responses now, and I'm going to go back to the presentation to see how we can deal with all of these things. Okay, so first of all, impromptu speaking, I think, is not just a skill that we, oops, Impromptu speaking is not just a skill that we require for Toastmasters. And though it is one of the skills that we only get to practice in Toastmasters, where someone can even give us feedback, I think impromptu speaking comes as an elevator pitch to someone you're meeting for the first time, in group discussions, in speeches where we have no prior presentations, or also in offices, in school meetings, in interviews, at dinner table conversation, to even your parents, your colleagues, to anyone. If someone asks you to give a feedback, impromptu speech is a skill that we require the most, and is a topic that is most popularly is popular in table topics. So what impromptu speaking does is it trains your mind to think clearly. You are able to, once master the skill of impromptu speaking, can express your thoughts clearly. You also make meaningful conversations, because a lot of times our human nature is to express ourselves, to express our experiences, to tell a story, to narrate to someone, or to simply make a conversation with our friends, peers, and family. And to make an interesting communicator, the skill of impromptu speaking is essential. Also, life is a complete pitch, right? We're always pitching for ideas to persuade our spouse, our kids, our parents to get us something, to come on that holiday, to buy that car, to help us get that raise, or for every aspect of our life, we're always making a pitch to persuade someone to do something our way, or even to inspire someone. And that is why I feel impromptu speaking is a skill that we should all master, irrespective of whether we are contesting in a speech contest or not. So where do we begin? I think the first spot to begin is to start talking to people you know. And this I get asked quite a few times, is how do I start speaking in terms of table topics? And I would say that don't start with a club meeting, or don't start with an unknown audience. Start with people you know, people you converse with in everyday life, and where there is no judgment, and where there is an opportunity to build relationships. Second is to talk to new people. And during the circuit break, during the lockdown period, I made it a point to talk to someone who visited my place, whether it was the delivery guy, to give him a small thank you for giving in the parcel, or for even letting in someone I met across on the road to ask hi, or exchange a small conversation that is less intimidating. And also, third, start talking at Toastmaster meetings. And why this is the most conducive environment to learn is because you have great mentors who can guide you and tell you how you can improve. And also you can learn from other speakers while you are presenting at table topics at the Toastmaster meetings. So we'll skip this and say, what is the most scariest part of table topics? And to me is first, when your name is called out, right? I think when your name is called out, you completely freak out, even though you know you might be the one chosen to speak on a topic. Like in a contest, even though you know you're going to be the next contestant, when your name is actually called out, your heart is pounding. The floor under your feet is almost vanishing. You feel like you're going to dig a grave and get into it. To this, I would like to say, from my experience, not only in table topics, not only in Toastmasters, but as a yoga instructor, I'm going to tell you today a few tips on how you can manage that anxiety that freaks you out at every step in table topics, even though it seems like less than 5 minutes of experience. And so the first part, where your name is called out and you freak out, I would say, when your name is called out, take your time. Take your time, because you have an entire minute to reach that stage. You have 1 whole minute to walk up those steps. And I know even now, though it is on a virtual stage, you still have your own time. No one is going to rush you to take that pause, to acknowledge that you're not going to be on stage and you're going to speak table topics. So take your time. What this does is it calms your mind and tells you that it's completely fine and you are in complete control. It's like you're trying to hack your brain. The second thing is you walk slowly. And what this is even though you're sitting in a virtual environment, you could probably sit more comfortably in your chair, relax on your armrest, and just take a step back and Walk slowly if you're in a real environment where you are going up on stage. Take your time to walk. What this does is eludes the confidence that you need at that point. It tells your mind that your body is in complete control. And instead of your mind controlling your body, you're now allowing your body to control your mind. The third thing, and the most important thing according to me, is to smile. Now, this smile can completely change the chemistry in your brain to fight stress. Now, why I say this is because every time you smile, there are some hormones that are secreted in our brain that actually tell the body that this is not a stressful situation. So even though you cannot create the thoughts that you require to get off the stress, just smiling, that simple smile, can change the chemistry in your brain. It also gives people the illusion that you are a lot more in control of yourself. The fourth point is to breathe slowly. And I know this can be very challenging, and thus it is not something that you only practice when your name is called out on stage. You need to practice this outside of your speech sessions, and which is that you sit in a place and you learn, whenever your heart is pounding, you learn to control your breath. You learn to be in the present moment and to focus on your breath, whether it is on your abdomen, whether it's on your chest. You keep your hand along your nostrils and just bring your attention to your breath. What this does is slows down the rate of thoughts in our mind. While our mind is racing and going ahead with all those crazy thoughts about how this is going to work out, whether I'm going to remember the quotes I did, the vocabulary, whether everyone's going to be okay with what I say, whether I'm going to hear the topic correct, all the thoughts that come to your mind at that point, just by bringing your attention to your breath in the moment, you can reduce the speed of those thoughts. And reducing the speed of the thoughts means reducing the anxiety and the stress around it, which creates physical symptoms of sweaty palms, shaking legs, heart pounding, your breath getting short. All of that thing is to stand erect with your shoulders rolled back and use a power pose. You can either put your hands on your waist or you can open your palms up. Now, while you're in an audience, you might not think this is appropriate or it might not look right. You can always put your hands behind your back, but keep your chest open, roll your shoulders and lift your chin up. This immediately opens up all the breathing channels in our body, provides extra oxygen that is so needed at that point in time for our body to cope with this unwanted or unnecessary or just that untimely stress that we are facing. So you can either stand, roll your shoulders back and hold your hands behind, lift your chin up and open up all the breathing channels along your chest. Now, how else do you manage anxiety? The first and the foremost thing is to greet it, to acknowledge it. Just acknowledging the fact that you are facing anxiety regarding public speaking is the first step to stop it from spiraling you down that curve. Now, 85% people, when asked what is the scariest thing to do, said public speaking. And the other 15% who did admit to the fact that public speaking is scary are mostly lying. So you know, everyone around the world, the top fear of any human being out there, worse than dying by a car accident or getting caught in a terrorist attack, is public speaking. It is a real anxiety that everyone faces. You are not alone. And that is why acknowledging the fact that you are facing this anxiety at the moment can really stop it from spiraling down. The second thing to do is also detach yourself from the consequences. Now, while we go there, what makes us the most anxious is fearing what people are going to think of us or how people are going to perceive what we just spoke about. Whether our vocabulary is going to be accurate, whether your grammar is going to be correct. All the anxieties that you just told me at the beginning of the session are the consequences that we fear the most. But what we need to do is detach from them and look at it as an opportunity. And what you realize, if you would have seen a lot of public speakers speaking, if a speaker is anxious, it actually makes the audience more uncomfortable. So if you have been at a presentation and the speaker has been really anxious, is shivering, is trying to read from notes, is looking down, or is speaking really softly, you can immediately tell the speaker is anxious. But what this does to you is makes you in the audience more uncomfortable and unreceptive of the message that they're trying to make. So this is why the first thing to do is to acknowledge that you're having the anxiety and then detach from the consequences or what is going to happen in case things go wrong. So this, and then coming to the next point of how we detach from the consequences is we reframe the situation. Now, if you're given a table topic, if you're given an opportunity to speak, remember that there is no right way. There is no one right way. There may be a better way, there may be a worse way, but there is no right way. There is no way someone's going to come at you and point at you and say that what you said was wrong. It is your opinion of a point that you're making. And most of the time, impromptu speeches are very generic in nature. And you don't necessarily have to have a universally correct point. Therefore, there is no way that you can go wrong in this. There is only way to get better, which we will always work on when we are practicing. Also, looking at table topics as an opportunity to connect with your audience. Look at it as a conversation that you're having with everyone in the audience rather than thinking about how you are performing. So getting out of this mindset of table topics being a performance versus table topics being an opportunity for you to converse with audience, to make your point or to get connected to a few people in the audience. And when there is a large audience, especially when you're speaking to an audience which is more than 100 people, it's hard to connect with everyone. Don't try to connect with everyone. Just try to connect with a few people. Make that eye contact with 5 people in the audience, and you will see when you make that connection, almost everyone in the audience connects with you because you have made that personal connection. The third and the most important point is to be present, in that moment without thinking about how you would have answered this if it was asked a little before, how you had answered this in the past, how other people have answered this, how if you would answer this, how would it change the way things are in the future? So being in that present moment can change everything, your whole perspective about table topics. And for me, the best way to stay present is a tongue twister. Now, when you try this, you will realize that when you're focusing on saying your tongue twister right, you're actually focusing in the moment. And it's sometimes hard to just focus on your breath. So it's important to use tools like these that can help you stay present. Now, what I would like you all to do is unmute yourself. All of you unmute yourself, and I'm going to give you a little exercise to do, okay? I'm going to give you a tongue twister, and I want you all to say it out loud after me, okay? And you have to be careful because if you don't say it right, you might mispronounce and it might sound naughty. So be careful of what you say, okay? Are all of you ready?
Yes,
Yes,
ready.
ready.
Yes,
Okay, great.
ready.
Yes, I can hear you. So this is the tongue twister. So I'll say the first line and then you all repeat after me. I slit a sheet.
I
Slit
slit
a sheet.
a sheet.
Sheet I slit.
A sheet I slit.
On that sheet I slit.
Sheet I slit.
On that slitted sheet, I sit.
On that slitted
On
sheet,
that
I sit.
slitted sheet,
On that
I sit.
Slitted sheet I sit.
I slit a sheet, I sit on that
On that
slitted
slitted
sheet.
sheet, I sit.
Slit a sheet, I slit. On that slitted sheet, I sit.
Great. Great.
Slit a sheet,
I slit
sheet
a
I
sheet.
slit.
I
On the
slit
slitted
on
sheet,
that
I sit.
slitted sheet.
I slit a sheet. On the slitted
Go
sheet,
ahead.
I sit.
On that sleep,
Slit
I
a
sleep.
sheet.
On that
Slit a sheet, I
slit
slit.
the sheet,
I slit.
sleep.
On that slitted
On
sheet,
that
I
sleep,
sit.
I sit. On that sleep, I sit. On that
I
sleep,
sit.
I sit.
On
Great.
that
So let's
slitted
go
sheet,
back to our
I